Winch. Red beadlock wheels, TRAILHAWK graphics down the side. Chevy just built a Colorado that shocks the entire midsize off-road segment, and nobody saw this coming. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what the TRAILHAWK 6200 name means and why it represents a completely different philosophy than the ZR2 Bison. There's one piece of hardware on the front of this truck that I've never seen on a factory midsize pickup, ever. And when we get to what it costs versus the Ranger Raptor, the value math doesn't work the way you'd expect. We're covering the exterior hardware, the cabin upgrade, and the performance engineering. But first, I've been hearing that the TRAILHAWK 6200 designation didn't come from Chevy's marketing department. It came from a specific competition class, and that explains everything about how this truck is built.
What stands out to me is the front end. That isn't an aftermarket bumper. It's a fully integrated steel unit with a factory-mounted winch, red recovery hooks flanking a skid plate that extends under the engine bay. This is a factory truck that comes ready for vehicle recovery out of the box. My opinion, and I've held this for a while, is that the mid-size off-road segment has been selling trail-capable trucks with recovery-incapable hardware. If you've ever been stuck alone on a fire road in a standard ZR2, you know exactly what I mean. The TRAILHAWK 6200 addresses that gap directly, and Chevy should have done this years ago. Here's the first engineering detail. Sources suggest the TRAILHAWK runs a redesigned front suspension geometry with increased caster angle, roughly 2 degrees more than the standard ZR2. The engineering reasoning is straightforward. With those larger mud-terrain tires, the increased caster improves straight-line tracking at highway speeds and provides more self-centering feedback on loose surfaces. It's a calibration change that addresses a real complaint from owners who've upgraded to larger tires on the current ZR2. But the exterior is only part of the story. That cabin tells you who this truck is really built for. Open the door and the branding hits you immediately. TRAILHAWK is embossed into the headrests in dark relief, stamped in red metallic lettering across the brushed aluminum dash panel, and stitched in red contrast thread into every leather surface. This truck has an identity. It knows what it is. The seats are the standout. Diamond-quilted perforated leather with aggressive bolstering and red stitching throughout, front and back. They're embossed TRAILHAWK on the upper backrest, which is a detail you typically see on limited-run performance vehicles, not mid-size trucks. The microsuede door panel inserts with quilted stitching match the seat treatment, and the transition between the upper leather wrap and the lower hard-touch surface is clean. No visible gaps, no misaligned textures. Now, I want to be straightforward. The infotainment screen runs GM's 11.3-inch system with Google built-in. It's the same mature platform you'll find across GM's truck lineup. Wireless CarPlay, Android Auto, responsive interface. The Chevy bow tie sits at the bottom corner of the screen, and the layout is clean. Physical HVAC controls remain below with real knobs for temperature and fan speed. If you're wearing work gloves after a trail recovery, you can still adjust the climate without taking your eyes off the road. That's a deliberate design choice. Here's the second speculative technology. Sources suggest the TRAILHAWK 6200 integrates a winch management system directly into the infotainment, monitoring cable load in real time, displaying estimated pull force, and alerting the driver to spool temperature limits. The hardware needed is a load cell on the winch drum and a thermal sensor on the motor. Both are inexpensive additions. The engineering reasoning makes sense. Winch failures during recovery are almost always caused by overheating or exceeding cable capacity, both of which are preventable with the data the driver can't currently see. Where I think they missed the mark: storage. The center console is adequate but not generous. For a truck designed around multi-day trail runs, the absence of additional lockable compartments or Molly-style mounting points on the cabin walls feels like an oversight. The Bronco Raptor does this better. Remember that competition class I mentioned? We're about to see why it matters.
Now, everything I've shown you so far, the factory winch, the interior branding, the tech integration, that's all genuinely impressive. But this next part is what will actually determine whether this truck succeeds or fails against the Ranger Raptor and the Tacoma TRD Pro. The suspension and powertrain numbers are where the TRAILHAWK either earns its name or doesn't.
The design language on this truck is deliberate. Silver metallic paint with a red and black TRAILHAWK graphic running from the front fender along the belt line to the rear. That's a visual signature you can identify from a parking lot away. The wheels are the defining element. Matte black beadlock style units with red lip accents wrapped in what appear to be 35-inch mud terrain tires. They're aggressive without being impractical. Those fender flares accommodate the wider track. The front bumper integrates the winch, a Warren-style unit from the look of it, with the recovery hooks sitting outboard and the cable fair leads centered. The skid plate beneath is steel, not aluminum, which tells you this truck is designed for sustained contact with rock surfaces, not occasional gravel. The rear shows a full-width LED light bar, Chevrolet stamped across the tailgate, TRAILHAWK badging on the lower right, and an integrated black rear bumper with tow provisions. The overall profile reads taller and wider than a standard Colorado. The stance says serious purpose. My assessment, this is the most visually distinctive mid-size truck in the current landscape. It reads as a purpose-built tool, not a lifestyle accessory. But design means nothing without the right powertrain. The ZR2 runs the 2.7-liter TurboMax, 310 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque, 8-speed automatic. That's still the most torque in the mid-size segment, more than the Tacoma, more than the Ranger. Here's the third engineering detail, and this is where the competition class backstory pays off. The 6,200 in the name? Sources suggest it refers to 6,200 pounds of gross vehicle weight rating, a significant increase over the standard Colorado's GWVR. The engineering implication is a reinforced frame, upgraded axle housings, and heavier-duty wheel bearings. That higher GWVR means the TRAILHAWK can carry the winch, the steel bumpers, the skid plates, and a full payload without exceeding its structural limits, a problem some owners have encountered when adding aftermarket armor to the standard ZR2. Max towing should hold at 7,700 pounds. For anyone towing a small trailer of dirt bikes to a trailhead, this truck handles that load with proper engineering margins. For anyone who's driven a Ranger Raptor, the TRAILHAWK will feel different. More low-end torque off the line, more deliberate steering weight, and a ride that prioritizes capability over highway comfort. That's a trade-off this buyer wants.
Now, here's what I actually think. The TRAILHAWK 6200 isn't trying to be the best mid-size truck for everyone. It's trying to be the only truck for a very specific person. The buyer who's been adding $15,000 in aftermarket parts to a ZR2 and wishing it came that way from the factory. And for that buyer, this changes the equation.
Pricing. The ZR2 Bison currently starts around $58,000. Expect the TRAILHAWK 6200 to sit between $62,000 and $68,000, possibly higher with a winch, steel armor, and the interior package. That's significant money for a midsize. For context, a Ford Ranger Raptor runs around $57,000, and the Tacoma TRD Pro tops out near $60,000. Neither comes with a factory winch or reinforced GVWR. For what it costs to buy a Bison and add a winch, bumper, and steel skids aftermarket, the TRAILHAWK 6200 arrives ready, with warranty coverage on every component. Ownership. GM's parts network is the deepest in the segment. Insurance will run higher than a standard ZR2, but resale on limited off-road editions is consistently strong. Pros and cons. First, the factory winch with integrated management. No midsize competitor offers this from the factory. That alone justifies a portion of the premium for anyone who uses their truck on technical trails. Second, the reinforced GVWR. This solves the real-world problem of owners exceeding weight limits after adding aftermarket armor. That's engineering responsibility, not marketing. Third, the interior upgrade. Embossed TRAILHAWK leather seats, microsuede door panels, and ambient lighting create a cabin that competes above its class. But I want to be honest about the trade-offs. Fuel economy. With 35-inch mud terrains and the added weight, expect 15 to 16 mpg combined. If this is your daily commuter, that adds up fast. Rear seat legroom remains the Colorado's constraint. No amount of quilted leather fixes a short wheelbase. Longtime GM truck owners will appreciate the proven powertrain and the comprehensive factory armor, but they'll rightfully question why Chevy hasn't offered a diesel option for the buyer who wants maximum low RPM torque without turbo lag. Verdict. Here's the full picture. The TRAILHAWK 6200 started in competition, a purpose-built class that demands factory structural integrity at higher gross weights. Chevy took that engineering and wrapped it in a truck that arrives trail-ready without a single aftermarket modification. If you're someone who spends weekends on actual trails, not fire roads, not gravel, but genuine technical terrain, this is the strongest factory midsize you can buy. If you need daily practicality and fuel efficiency first, the standard ZR2 is still a remarkable truck at a lower price.
Remember that factory winch we opened with? The hardware that doesn't belong on a production midsize truck? After everything we've covered, the reinforced frame, the interior commitment, the purpose-built engineering, that winch isn't just a recovery tool, it's a declaration. Chevy is telling the off-road market that midsize can be just as serious as full-size, and the TRAILHAWK 6200 is the proof. I'd genuinely love to hear your perspective, especially if you've been building a ZR2 in the aftermarket and wondering whether this makes more sense. Drop your thoughts below. And if you want to see how this compares to the Titan 4000, that breakdown is right here. If this kind of real, no-nonsense truck analysis is what you're looking for, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.